Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Waleed, and Alhamdulillah, this is my story. I was born in Egypt, brought up in Egypt. My I'm originally Palestinian. When I was young, I basically moved to Sweden. I was there for quite a while. And we lived in a small village in Sweden. It was probably the only, you could say almost probably the only black people in the area. It was almost like a little town. And being the only people in Sweden, you know, my mom was a bit concerned about, you know, upbringing in terms of the deen and, you know, being religious and stuff. And I can remember when I was at the age of 6, my mom, you know, I think it was Ramadan, and my mom used to pray a lot, and, you know, that Ramadan spirit. And, you know, I used to ask my mom, like, who's Allah? I can hear you saying Allah, who's Allah, and all of that stuff. And, you know, she said, Allah is the person you need to have fear, taqwa from, and all of that. And I said, well, who's Allah? I'm not scared of Allah. And since that time, my mom got really worried. However, a couple of years later, I got slightly older, about 8, we moved to the UK, London. Obviously, I didn't know a word of, you know, English then. And coming from Sweden to the UK, not knowing English, and obviously moved to South London, it was kind of bad because I went to a bad school in South London. I didn't know English, and it was just hard for me at the time, and so on and so on. And I remember the area I lived in was quite bad, and it was like one time I was walking home from school, and someone threw a stone at me, and I can remember turning around and looking at the person, and, you know, they're saying, what, like starting fights for no reason. That's the kind of area I used to live in, and I can remember that was somewhere in Camberwell, yeah. However, my family decided to move to North London. I grew up most of my life in North London, and then I was in year 9. When I was in year 9, that's when I really got into the dancing now. I started doing, you know, talent show in year 9, got into it more, and basically that's how my life kind of started from there. So I done my first little talent show when I was in year 9, got kind of popular, got into it, and then as I got older, I went into school now. I mean, not school, sorry, college. And at college, I really got popular. People used to know me as, you know, dancing and stuff, and I kind of like got into it. But at the same time, as soon as I hit 18 and being just leaving college, I moved that, you know, to the hostel, lived by myself, and that was a bit of a struggle for me and stuff, not having my family around and stuff. However, that's when I joined Flawless. And how they scouted me is basically, I used to do a lot of events. And one event I did was basically the Jump Off. And Jump Off was basically a nightclub with everyone, you know, you have like big people that, obviously there's people now that's made it, like you got Professor Green. Before he even made it, he used to go to these kind of places, and, you know, people compete for money. And that's the kind of places I try to go and get known and compete for money and get into the dancing and stuff. And that's how Flawless saw me, and when they saw me, they liked me and they wanted me to jump on board. So now I've jumped on board with the Flawless people, and they become me, obviously living by myself, not having my family around that much. Flawless was kind of like my family. It was like 11 of us, all mandem, and we used to just go to events, do nightclubs, do mobiles, after party, music videos, and we always like stick together, eat together. We used to always like get free garms, do fashion show, get free, you know, so much clothes, and like we became like a proper family, a tight unit. However, I was still in college and I was still doing the events, or doing the events with Flawless. I remember one of the Yeah, one of the biggest impact I had in my life was when I had my accident, which I'll obviously mention that a bit later. Yeah, so however, when I got into the dancing now, me and Flawless, we got a signed contract with Nike. And obviously being young, you know, about in my 20s, getting a contract with Nike was excited. That was like a big contract. Every time, you know, we used to go Nike Town on Saturdays, do a little, like there's a stage at the one, we used to go Nike Town on Saturdays, do a little dance, little show at the bottom. They used to bring DJs and they used to just throw us garms and clothes and clothes, and after clothes, get trainers, clothes, and used to do like secret events. We used to do a lot of secret Nike events, fashion shows in like somewhere in East London. It was like private, like big people come, and we used to just dance there while people come, and you know, we just show off the clothes. So as that's going on, I'm still living in my hostel, and I bump into a brother, and that's how my other life started having a big impact on me, because that's when my life started having a transition now, when I met this brother, because obviously we're both Muslims, we're not on deen, and we never knew that he was Muslim, he never knew I was Muslim, and that's how it kind of started. So obviously me being by myself was a bit depressing, so I started praying. So one day the brother, you know, saw me and he's like, "Oh, brother, are you Muslim?" And he was a revert. I goes, "Yeah, I'm Muslim." He goes, "Oh, yeah, I'm Muslim too. I'm a revert." Like, and obviously there was no sign of Islam on him, meaning having a beard and all of that stuff. And I would have never thought he was a Muslim, because obviously he was, you know, a revert brother, just an ordinary person. However, we started just chatting, getting to know each other. I'm still doing my dancing, and then, you know, together we started to grow, get to know each other, you know, jumping on deen, like trying to push each other and say, "Look, you know what, you pray, yeah, I pray." And then suddenly, you know, it was quite funny, because I used to say to the brother, I want to grow my beard. He's like, "What, you're going to grow your beard, yeah? I might do that as well," you know, and we kind of grew together. So while that's happening, I'm about to leave college now, and I remember we done the last like end of year talent show. When I did the talent show, it was big hype. Obviously, everyone knew I was a dancer, and I brought some of the Flawless boys to the talent show, and we was the last people to perform. And obviously, everyone had performed, and now it was us, Flawless, so we obviously took over the stage, and we started basically dancing, and I remember the big thing that made me kind of like contemplate about my life was that I used to have this specific move that I used to do, because obviously I used to be one of the people that used to do the flips in Flawless. We all done gymnastics, but I was one of the people who used to be the flippers. Not everyone could do backflips, but I was one of them. There was about 3 of us. However, I used to put a t-shirt over my head and do a flip and not see where I'm going, but obviously land on my feet, because obviously we was kind of like experts. But that day, I didn't land on my feet. I landed straight on my head, and all I can hear the crowd going, "Ooh!" Obviously, when you're there in front of everyone, you don't want to embarrass yourself. So I just quickly jumped off the floor. But after the show, people used to say, "Bro, like the way you was on the floor, I thought you died. Like the way you hit that ground." Obviously, me being myself, you can't see what you're doing yourself, but you're basically, you're in that mode. You're trying to get off the ground, not trying to look like a fool, and you're trying to style it out. Alhamdulillah, so that used to just, you know, bother me. So I used to contemplate a lot about that, and people, you know, they were worried for me. So that happened, had the accident. I was by myself, you know, in a hostel, and I'm still trying to strive. And I used to think to myself, like, look, what happens if someone asked me, like, Waleed, like, what happened to Waleed? He was, you know, cool guy, you know, but yeah, Waleed was cool, but he died dancing, you know, he broke his neck. Like, that used to bother me a lot. After I had the accident, that used to bother me. Like, imagine the last thing I did, I died on stage, dancing in front of all those people. Like, obviously I wasn't religious at the time, but that used to bother me, that I didn't want to like be known for that, dying. And you know, these things happen. A lot of people that have passionate for whatever, you know, singing, rapping, whatever, wrestling, and imagine dying in that work field. Like, I didn't want to be part of that. So that affected me a lot. However, so back to the hostel life now. I remember, obviously, me and this brother were growing, and was growing on deen, and we said, yeah, you know what? Let's push this deen a bit harder. Let's go to the mosque for Fajr. So we were thinking like, yeah, we're early. we're going to the Fajr Salah. We're there, rolling all the way there early, put our attar on, everything. And when we got to the mosque, we see the caretaker, you know, it's locking up the mosque, and we're thinking we're bare early, and it's like, no, you lot are late. And it just pushed us harder to get on Deen. So now I'm in two lifestyles, a bit confused. I'm enjoying myself getting on Deen. At the same time, I got my flawless family that I enjoyed, you know, being around, because obviously that's all I knew at the time. But slowly but surely I realized, you know, this is not the way, man. Like, I can't be, like, how long can I be dancing for? Like, and obviously as I got more on Deen, like, I started like getting a bit worried. However, I started jumping on Deen now, and I got my salah serious. I started praying hard and all of that stuff, even to the point that even though when I used to go to dancing rehearsals, I used to just nip out quickly after I've done a move, danced, whatever. I say to the guy, I'll be back in a minute. I used to go somewhere in a corner, throw my jacket on the floor, still pray. That's how like on it I was. Then I go back dancing again. Dance, then go back, pray, dance. Like, it was like I was confused and stuff. But one of the things that made me like put my foot down and think, you know what, enough is enough, is one time the brother I was with, obviously, he was chatting, you know, on the internet, chatting to, you know, to sisters and stuff, and obviously at that time it wasn't good. And I advised him, look, akhi, you know, you shouldn't be chatting to sisters, and it's not good, you know. And he turned around and said, but you're trying to give me advice, but you dance, bro. Like, from that day, it hurt. It's true, it hurt me so much that day I called my manager, my dancing manager. I said, look, I'm not dancing no more. Just to prove a point that obviously me giving nasiha or advice, I need to obviously quit what I'm doing and practice what I preach, kind of thing. And I went, called my manager, and I dropped all my clothes back to them. I said, look, I'm not dancing no more, I'm done. And then I went back to the brother and said, look, I'm not even dancing no more. So, and since that time, alhamdulillah, I haven't gone back, and that's basically it. And alhamdulillah, I'm still rolling with the brother till today, and we both striving hard. Since I've been on Deen, alhamdulillah, it's not been a time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't answered my dua. Every time I'm down or I need Allah, Allah has aided me in every single way. Brothers that know me personally know how blessed I am. Alhamdulillah, if I didn't quit dancing, I wouldn't have opportunity to maybe have my own business. I wouldn't have opportunity to like raise my own family. I would have been lost, no time, just still like dancing itself is like a hustle. Like, you just hoping to dance, to like, you hoping to win something so you can do an event and all of that stuff. Alhamdulillah, like, Islam has made me realize, like, it's not even about being confused or being raised like an animal. Like, you got a purpose, and that purpose is to, you know, you feel content, because even the fact that being Muslim and having Iman itself, like, I can't even explain Iman itself and having Iman. Like, a person will have to enter Islam to know that feeling, and it's just an amazing feeling. And alhamdulillah, Allah safeguarded me from any like munkar, and if anything bad, and you know, any situation I've been in, Allah's taken me out of that situation. And for me, that's like the best thing. And I feel like I got a better relationship with my own personal family. I know how to deal with people. I know how to conduct myself. I know how to speak. I know how to, like, you know, have etiquettes, being around people. Islam has taught me this stuff. Even looking at the way the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to live his life, and, you know, being like him. Like, how would I learn all of this stuff if it wasn't for Islam? Alhamdulillah, and all praise to Allah for this. Alhamdulillah, the advice I will give others, or especially advise myself first, is look at the way the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ lived his life. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he chooses certain months where he favors, and he chooses certain days in a year that he favors. For an example, like Laylatul Qadr, Yawm al-Arafah. So at that same time, he chooses certain people that he favors. And if you're Muslim and you know that you're upon the haqq, strive to get closer to Allah, because look at the Prophet Muhammad when he was, you know, met by the angel Jibreel. Angel Jibreel didn't come to him and say, excuse me, Prophet, I'm an angel, I'm going to be coming forward and back and introducing myself. He came with him with firmness. He shook him. He said, look, read, seek knowledge. And this way it comes to show that the deen came in a firm way, that this is not a joke. this deen came in a firm way that this religion is not a joke. Look at it, look at the way the Quraysh, the tribes, wanted to kill the Prophet because he was spreading the truth. And you know, people wanted to destroy him. Why? Because so we can live upon La ilaha illallah today. And look, we have a simple life. There's so much going on for us now. Like everyone knows about Islam, and you know, you don't even have to have a compromise your deen or your beard or anything. Even if you go to workplaces, you can pray. So why would there be a reason for you not to be on deen? Do you understand? If you have it easy, you just woke up in a family that's Muslim, why wouldn't it be easy? Like, it's easy, alhamdulillah. You got that ni'mah. So Allah chose you and me, alhamdulillah, to be Muslim. So take the opportunity to get closer to Allah and thank Him. And as for maybe non-Muslims, take the opportunity like, to look into Islam. You might hear negative things, but at the end of the day, you don't know, it's all propaganda till you know the truth yourself. And look into it and read, and obviously read the characteristics of the Prophet ﷺ, and look at the truth about Islam. And inshallah, if you seek the truth, Allah will allow you to see the truth. And inshallah, we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us and makes us steadfast on the truth. And also the one thing I wanted to mention, look at the companions after they came to the deen. Look at Umar ibn Khattab for an example. He was so much on deen that when the shaitan used to see him, he used to take the other way. He used to walk the other way. And this is the kind of people we want to be like. We don't want to be like dancers. We don't want to be like singers. Like, leave all of this stuff. Like, alhamdulillah, Allah has guided me. And obviously this is by the will of Allah. And you know, but at the same time, Allah guides who He wills. But we have to seek for guidance. We have to ask Allah to make us on the, you know, the right path. And the same way as, you know, someone that is, you know, seeking the truth outside Islam, and he wants to know what is the truth, you know, you have to ask your Lord or ask your Creator or whoever you believe in to guide you, to show you the truth, and surely Allah will give it to you. And that's it, inshallah. I want to say Jazakallahu khairan to Road Side to Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.